they do it. They smile in your face all the time. They wanna take
Smile in
your
your
place.
face.
Smiling in your face all the time.
And I got Fendi on my back, so you know I got eyes. And these Cartier frames gon' see right through your lies. Gotta watch my back, cause a nigga.
Today's topic is when my wife got fed up. You got fed up? Oh. So that's what we're talking about today. The topics are why do people cheat, the aftermath of cheating, and how to get over it. So we're going to say why, the aftermath, and how to get over it.
Those are good topics. So the reason behind this video is to make sure that we enlighten or bring some type of illumination to you guys' lives when it comes to your relationships, for the simple fact that I don't believe that most people understand the consequences of parenthetically cheating, or pain, or how to get over, or how to get in a position to actually transition towards being married. So that's what we're wanting to do, is to help you guys get into the space and the position to actually transition into marriage. So
Okay.
let's get started. This is very sensitive, so we're going to be very transparent, and we're going to have some fun with it. So let's go.
So I'm going to start off telling why. This is out of my experience of what caused a person to cheat. Well, the reason why I cheated was I gave out information that was in my household to other people, and people played on that. So, prime example, I could go out, be at the bar just chilling, and just sitting there, and somebody comes up and be like, "Hey, what's up? What you doing here alone?" I'm like, "Man, I got a lot of stuff going on at the house." So that ear is opening up. They're like, "Oh, okay, so what you got going on at the house?" So I'm babbling off about, well, she ain't doing this, she ain't doing it. The other person like, "Oh, I can do that. You know, she ain't doing what? I can do it.
Wow.
She ain't cleaning, she ain't cooking. I can do that, I can do that." So as she continues, or that person continues to say, "I can do," and I'm not getting, "I can do," my attention is going like, "Oh, you can do what?"
Wow.
That's crazy, huh?
It is. It is, because a lot of times the cliche is we'll think the grass is green on the other side. And just like, you know, when we was talking before, you said that a lot of times these people are imposters.
Yeah.
I like that word when you use that, because they'll put up a facade, and you'll think you're getting something better outside of the house than you are in the house, when they're actually just playing on words. Yeah. They're just becoming what you think you need, or what you do need at home.
Yeah. And what you want,
right,
what you desire.
Right.
So they put on that portray like, this is what I have to offer.
Right.
So
come on this side.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on this side. You get over there, they got
Right.
grass this high, it ain't growing, no snakes crawling all in the grass and stuff, and you like, this ain't what I signed up for.
Exactly. So a lot of times I think what happens is there's a lack of communication in the home.
Yeah.
So some instances where people cheat, there could be something going on in the home, and either the two are not knowing how to communicate it. Now let me say something too about communication. You have to be available. When I say available, I don't mean in position like we're sitting next to each other so we're available to talk. Because a lot of times we can be in position to talk, but we're not listening. You know, it's one thing to hear and it's one thing to listen. You know, I could hear, like if my wife came to me and started complaining about something, I could hear her, but I'm not listening. So you have to be available to listen, to be able to be receptive, even if it hurts. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we think we're doing everything right. Or she could think she's just, you know, like she got it together. She bringing home the bacon, she cooking it, she, you know, whatever. You know, she's on this high in her personal affirmation, but when it comes to her mate, she could be lacking something. And you have to be able to be receptive to criticism. Okay, you have to be willing to not only be receptive, but to also be open-minded for change. You cannot use "this is just how I am." I've heard it 1,000 times. Even counseling people, you know, with their marriage, "this is just how I am." And just because you get up in age or you've been a certain way for years does not negate the fact that change is inevitable. Change is necessary. Change is needed, especially when it comes to a relationship. Because if everything stays the same, if everything is neutral, if nothing ever shifts, and it gets kind of boring, you know, the challenge is not there. So change can bring benefit to a relationship. It can bring about it can put things in a situation where it's a little bit more challenging and more interesting. So you have to make sure that you're communicating with your mate, and you have to be available for whatever that person has to say. Because if you don't give ear, somebody else will. And we know that a lot of our times are spent with other people, like jobs. You know, especially y'all that got these jobs where you working in meals. It is statistically proven that a lot of cheating happens on the job, in the ministry, in the church, in the choir, wherever you are spending or allotting a lot of your time is normally where cheating starts. Yeah. And, you know, like she said, when you get to the place where you're giving information in your home to outside sources, it don't even have to be at the bar to the person that's getting ready to pretend to be what you need. It could be a fellow coworker. Yeah. I cannot believe this. My phone is ringing. So it could be a fellow coworker. Yeah. Your business in your home is your business. Before, I know you itching to say something, babe, but let me make sure I say this. Whatever goes on in your home does not need to go outside of your home when it comes to nobody. Not your parents, not your best friend. You know, I know they mean well, and I know they want to give you their wisdom and their input, and they want to, you know, they want to tell you what they think, and you know, they got your best interest at heart. But let me tell you what the consequences of that is.
Tell them, babe.
Once you start giving this information to your best friend and your cousin and Uncle Pete and your mama and your grandma and all these different people now, after they fill you up, okay, with all of their perspective, not even knowing really the 100% of what's going on in the house. They only knowing your part. They're giving you partial wisdom. And then, watch this now, after you heal with your mate, they're going to be left with the pain. So now we don't got back together and we good and we Gucci and we hanging out. But at the barbecue, mama still got her nose twisted, you know, because you hurt my baby, you know what I'm saying? Or y'all had this offense or something happened and they can't live it down. Just because we can heal and we can digest what's going on in home doesn't mean that other people can. And we've experienced that firsthand. I got a best friend. And when my wife met me, she met me and my best friend the same night. Yep. And so she suffered with us as we were growing, you know, and going through the tears and the pain. My best friend was there, and I spilled over a lot of what we were going through. And to this day, it's hard for her to embrace my wife. You know what I'm saying? Because she was hurt when I was hurt. She saw all of the pain, you know. So now we have a hard time, you know, keeping unified or the unity, you know, when we all hanging out together. So that's the consequence.
It's getting better though. It's getting better.
Yeah, oh, it's getting much better. It's amazing, married, especially when we got married. Yeah, so
she came through.
She did. She did.
Shout out to her.
She did. So you know, you want to piggyback off of that, babe? Because I know you got something to say.
Yeah, just to elaborate on what my wife was saying, just communicate within your home. Once you communicate outside of your home, all that tension and all that, they're giving somebody else an opportunity to step inside your back door. So I learned a big valuable lesson from that is to voice your opinion, communicate, talk to your spouse, and let them know how you feel about a certain situation. And you can avoid all that extraness. Grass ain't green on the other side. Who said that? Chris Martin?
Exactly. And I guess to kind of piggyback off of what I said initially when it came to me, if you're in a place and you have to be honest with yourself, okay? One thing we're not as African Americans is honest. We're not honest when we have mental issues. We're not honest when we have self-esteem issues. We're not honest when we're jealous. It's a lot of things that we are not honest with ourselves about. This is not for the world to know. This is between you and God. And you have to be honest enough to know or to come to an agreement with yourself if you're ready for a relationship. Because just because you title somebody my boo or my girlfriend or you know, whatever the lingo is, you know, or the vernacular in this dispensation, even though you give people these titles don't mean they earn them. Not only that, doesn't mean that you earn to be that position in their lives, because a lot of times we need to work on us. And I don't know why people frown upon singleness. I was single when, I'm gonna say this, okay? When I can't say waiting for my wife, okay? I don't feel like I was waiting, because I was in a space where I was petitioning God. I wanted the feelings to go away because she wasn't ready, okay? Now, one thing I do respect about her is she was straight up when she said, I'm just not ready to commit to you, okay? You know, it was a hard pill to swallow for me.
Why did I say I wasn't ready?
Well, you wasn't ready to just 100%, you know, commit to the relationship.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, youthfulness took place with her, for one. And then, you know, her other reasons are she had stuff she wanted to do.
Yeah, see, I had stuff I wanted to do.
Right.
So I didn't want to hurt her any more than I already have. You know, I respect her as a woman, and I don't want to put her through that like I was putting everybody else through. Right. Because I had more respect for her, and I was in love with her. Right. So I was like, the time is not now. I ain't trying to, I want this to be forever. Me and you. It just wasn't our time. Right.
And I took that, my perspective of her saying that was rejection. You know, I felt like she was rejecting me because she was not ready to commit to me, because she knew that had she done that, she would have hurt me more than she had already hurt me. You know, so sometimes, and then she had an issue too with communicating. You know, so her communication to her was, I don't call for 2-3 days. I just cut you off, you know, when I see things going a little too fast. That's not communicating. It is a communication, but it's not the right communication, because silence is a communication, you know. So I took her silence, and I used to tell her this all the time. Don't leave me to speculate. You know, what we do sometimes when we're silent and when we're distant, we leave room for the enemy to put all types of concepts or ideas in our minds, and we start speculating. And we speculate from rejection. We speculate from pain. We speculate from self-esteem issues. And all of these different speculations brought me to a place where I thought she just did not love me. You know, so it put a bad taste in my mouth, you know, because I was speculating or assuming, you know what I'm saying? So
that's when she got fed up.
So,
we'll get into that later.
Right, you know? Right. So we have to go back to singleness. Singleness is not, I don't know why people frown upon it, but it's actually a blessing, because you have the time to work on yourself. You have the time, and you don't have to be concerned and burdened down with other people's feelings and other people's needs. When you're in a marriage, it is joy. Good, listen, it's the most joyous thing in the world. It's very, very pleasant. It's very loving. It's a bunch of happiness. It's ups and downs, and you're growing with somebody. I'm not saying that marriage is bad either, but I'm not saying single is either. Both of them have pros and cons, okay? But while you're single, you get to work on yourself. You get to be in a space where you work on your relationship with God, with your children, or whatever, or you know, being an entrepreneur, or whatever adventures and goals that you have, without bringing other people inside of your issues that you have not dealt with, that are unresolved. So what I would suggest, and what I should have done earlier, you know, in my life when I was a little younger, and when I was doing a lot of cheating and jumping around, is I should have remained single. I should have, and when I say single, I don't mean title-wise, because a lot of times, I think we can deal with this too a little bit. Yeah. We'll tell a person, we ain't together, you know, we just kicking it, you know, you just my boo, you know, we just talking. And people, okay, especially women, unfortunately, their emotions will come up with a sum total of something completely different than what you originally said. Yeah. So, for instance, you'll say we just friends and you just my boo, but you'll find out later when you in the club and you kicking it with somebody else and they walk up and want to fight, that you really in a relationship that you didn't even put yourself in.
You talking first.
It happens all the time. Believe what a person tells you. Believe what they show you. Because a lot of time it is what you show me more than it is what you say. You have to believe what people present. If they're presenting to you that they hoish, or if they present to you, you know what I'm saying, that they don't want to be committed, they don't want to be married, they don't want, you know what I'm saying, what you're bringing to the table, believe that. Never put yourself in a space where you think you can change a person. Change comes from within.
I was thinking it, but you said it.
I said it, right?
Yeah, I was thinking that. You said it. You can't change them.
You can't change people.
Okay.
Never. I don't care what you can, listen. I don't care what kind of tricks you got sexually. I don't care what kind of food you can cook. I don't care what kind of money you got. I don't care what it is that you have as an adjective. You cannot change a person. Only God, by way of the Holy Spirit, and only a person's will has to change. And that's one thing that I had to go through with her. I was trying to bring everything, because I got a lot to bring. Listen. Listen, I had a lot to bring. And even then, even though we were younger, I had a lot to bring to the table. And she knew that I was an adjective to her life, you know, but she wasn't willing. Her will had to come into play. And listen, while I'm saying that, because I know you got something, babe, you cannot manipulate, deceive, or trick people to be with you. Because if you start doing all this witchcraft, okay, that's basically what it is. You know, and I can go as far as saying, you know, about cooking people food and putting stuff in. You know, what people fail to realize is people really doing some of this foolishness, you know. But you cannot bend a person's will to be with you. Okay. You can't do it, because it's not going to end up well. It's not. Anytime you put a diabolical entity in place or use any type of trickery, it's not going to end well. You got something, babe?
Right. All right, we're going to take a little quick break right quick. And we're going to come back on this topic, so y'all stay tuned.
All right, so listen. We're originally here to tell you what happens when a person gets fed up. You know, because I got to a point where I was fed up. I was done. I was at a crossroad where I had to make a decision on if I wanted to continue allowing myself to be broken, or allow myself to not have a relationship or a marriage that was conditioned upon my purpose. So I had to make a decision, you know, am I going to continue to allow this cycle? Because we were in a cycle for over
15 years.
A cycle of me allowing her to come in and out whenever she got ready, whenever it was comfortable for her, when it was convenient for her, when she wasn't, you know what I'm saying, on a break with somebody else, you know, and all of those different situations broke me a little bit more each time. So I got into a place where I was done. And this is where, you know, I started to pray and ask God, you know, listen, release me. You know, I don't want these feelings anymore. I don't want to, you know, continue my life. And then.
Now, look, to elaborate on that, you know you're in love when you're asking God to break this union you have.
Right.
So they get into like, kind of like the soul ties.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what that is. You know, because
I can't love nobody till you tell them to break it.
Yeah, because I couldn't do it alone. I didn't have the strength to stop loving her. I didn't have the strength to stop allowing that cycle. You know, if she called me at the drop of a dime, you know, I shifted. I mean, I could be in the middle of a totally different commitment or situation or dating, and I would drop it like it never happened. And in the midst of that, other people got hurt, you know, so it was just a cycle, and it reoccurred so much. I think she took advantage of it. So you have to be careful. But you did. You have to be careful because old people say it like this: if why buy the cow? Why buy the milk if you have the cow? You know, why commit to somebody that's going to always be there? If you already have them, then what is the need to commit or put yourself in an agreement or a covenant with somebody when you know that they're available at your every beck and call? And that's how I was. And I'm not ashamed of it, Okay, so my point is this. I'm trying to teach you guys something. My point is this. A soul tie. Should we go ahead and elaborate on what that means?
Yes.
A soul tie. When you're trying to understand a word, you always have to find the root word and define it. So when you're dealing with a soul tie, and this is a predominantly religious term. Normally you hear this colloquialism in Christianity, but it is a term that actually means, for instance, I'm going to give it to you in simplicity. If you look at the word soul, it deals with your emotions. Your soul is your will. Your soul is where your feelings are housed, where your fears are, where your all of your energy is when it comes to your will and your being. That's your soul. Your thoughts, your ambitions, that's your soul, okay? Your emotions, all of that. Now, a tithe, it reminds you of tying shoes. Okay, if you want your shoes to stay on and to stay put, then you tie the knots or you tie the laces together to make a knot so that it's not easily broken. So a soul tie is when you're connected with someone deeply, not just physically, but spiritually, okay? To the point where their emotions are connected to yours. Their spirit is connected to yours. It's such a bond that it cannot be broken by your own strength. It has to be broken by God. Okay, now soul tie normally is taught in a negative aspect, but a soul tie can be beneficial or be healthy as well, especially in a marriage. If you are married or you're trying to get married to someone, you want to have a soul tie. If you don't want to connect, you don't want to say I do to a person that you don't have a soul tie with. Okay, now most people call it my soulmate. Okay, these are synonymous terms, but it is a spiritual connection or a bondage, or it's almost like being yoked together. Like for instance, when we were apart, if we wasn't together, I could feel when she's getting ready to call me. I could feel it. I can feel when something was wrong. I can feel when I needed to pray for her. I could feel when she's got an attitude. I could feel things was happening, and we would be miles away because we still had that soul tie.
Same here.
Right, and it can even get it can get so deep, soul ties, that it can become physical. Like for instance, not to be but y'all grown. So for instance, if I closed my eyes and I thought about a moment that we were intimate, let's say that, okay, or we were romantic, or we was, in the groove of things, okay. If I closed my eyes, she could be 1,000 miles away and I could literally feel, without her touch, without her calling, without her saying anything, I could connect with her on an intimate level with my physical body, even though she wasn't there.
Same here.
Right. Now, this is so deep that when you try to bring outsiders in, okay, that's why you have trouble, what I'm saying, when you're trying to connect with people and you got a soul tie with somebody else. Because what you're doing is they're competing with that soul tie. And when they try to come in the bedroom, or when they try to, get into your emotions and your will, there's always going to be a blockage there, because it's almost like they're competing with a spirit that they have no idea is in place. And that is honestly what that is. That's why it's healthy to have a soul tie when you're married. Because when somebody else try to come in, they have to compete. They have to compete with me. And I ain't, I ain't nobody to play with. But anyway, my point for saying all of that is I got tired. I was fed up. And when you get tired, you don't tell nobody. When you walking around, I'm tired, and I ain't doing it no more. When you still talking, you good. I tell my wife all the time, if I'm talking, you in good standing. When I get quiet, you got a problem. Because when you get fed up, this is not you calling nobody to tell nobody you tired. Tired is going to take its place, and it's going to shift you, whether you comfortable with that shift or not. And I got tired. I got fed up. R. Kelly. When a woman's fed up, and people get fed up, you can get in a place, and I never thought I could reach that place. And it's not that the love was gone. I was still in love. I still had the soul tie, but I was tired. It had completely drained me.
And I felt that. Like our last conversation a couple of months ago. You know, you used to tell me, like, I'm done. I can't do it no more. I'm like, all right, whatever. I be gone for a couple of days, come back. You know, we back to where we started. But that little one phone call, when she said those words, I felt it. Like, I can't even describe the feeling. Like, that just put a light bulb in my head. Like, you gotta go get your woman. you better get on the first plane to go get your woman.
And where were you?
I was in Texas. Oh. I was in Dallas, Texas.
Wow. So some of these conversations we're just having. So this is unscripted.
Yeah, it's unscripted.
But I didn't know that she had those feelings. And I don't even, when I remember the conversation, but I don't know what I said. Because it was like every other time. You know, nothing was unique in its presentation. I said the same thing that I say every time. I'm done. I'm finished. I can't do this no more. Yeah. But something, I don't know if it was something, the way that I said, or she could read my spirit. Here go the soul ties. Yeah. She knew.
I know.
She knew. The Lord revealed it to her that this is you. This is it. You know, because I was actually crying out to God about it, like fasting. You know, so she knew, and it was a benefit for her to know, because one thing about life, when you're praying, you know what I'm saying, and you're asking God for certain things, when it's your time for you to receive, then God will answer. You can cry all day long, but until it's your time, there's a lot of things that she had to experience that I benefit from now. That now, when I look back in retrospect now, okay, so for instance, this is our future back when I was crying. You know, but had I knew that this would have been our future, I would have saved some of them tears. But at the time, I didn't understand that she needed to experience some more things in life that later on I would end up benefiting from. You know what I'm saying? Because we want things when we want them and how we want them. Yeah. You know, so I told her, I said, I'm finished. If I gotta pray and fast and kick and holler and scream, you know, for the rest of my life, I am done. You're not going to continue to put me in this cycle because I did not deserve it. You have to know what you deserve. Okay. And she knew what I deserved, yeah, but I didn't know, because if I had knew, I would have been, you know, put a stop to it. But no. But long story short, was it anything else though, babe, that led up, was it just that moment, or was it other things that kind of led up to, okay, I'm finna lose her? Yeah,
it was at that moment, but you know, I didn't want to like come in a situation with her not having myself together. That means like my finances, my credit scores and all that. So I remember me pleading to God, like, this is her, but I need help, you know, show me some kind of sign, like that's where my heart is and that's where I need to be. So so yeah, he started sending me all kinds of signs where I got my debt paid off, credit score started going up. So I'm like, babe, I'm ready. I'm coming to you with a clean slate. no ties or tribulations or whatever, nothing, no connection. It's all me. She's like, yeah, right. You know, I ain't hearing that because I don't heard that story before. Right. So I had to show her and prove to her that I was for real. Right. So I got in my car and drove 11 hours.
She did.
11 hours.
She did.
I'm like, we got to find us an apartment and everything. We went through a lot.
We did. But real quick.
Real
The transition quick. Was, I mean, all.
But it was meant.
Yeah. It was like overnight. Like, I mean, all. And then God did it so quickly and the transition was so smooth. Everything we needed was in place.
It was in place.
I mean, from finances to, I mean, it's like God just put his hands and just start putting things.
Like, why are you running? This is what you're looking for. This is what you're searching for, and I'm giving it to you. You know what I'm saying? You want to say about a job. You want to say about your credit score, your this and that. I'm laying it out. You just go have to, it's right there in front of you. So what are you going to do with it?
Right.
This is what he was saying, like, she right there.
Right.
So when I started to commit and then, you know, our relationship started growing, we started prospering. Everything that we were searching for in other people, our finances and everything just started coming tenfold.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
Right. So
Like,
it's like,
like
I
no
should have
real
did this a
talk.
long time ago.
Right.
Why am I running from a situation that I know I need to be in? Well,
Right.
she's not in a situation. She's my wife.
Right.
You know. I'm just, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And I remember you being afraid.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times people can become complacent, you know, and all she knew, well, not knew because she's traveled the world now. Don't get me wrong. Spain, I mean, we can name 1,000 places she's been that I've never seen, I dream of. But traveling is one thing, but moving your life is something totally different. And she never wanted to leave Auburn, you know. whatever this hole that city had on her, and a lot of the hole was fear. You know, a lot of people don't want to, or is not comfortable, let's say that when it comes to her, by walking by faith. You know, faith is a very hard, strategic walk, and you have to have a relationship with God in order to walk by faith. And at that time, she was not willing to leave her city, you know, that she loved, that she was loyal to, where she was raised, where all of her opportunities were, and take it and then move and completely go blind to a city, you know, Atlanta. Not only she wasn't familiar with, I wasn't either. You know, even though I made the transition before she did, she would, you know, we just would been completely walking blind, you know, but it took God to open a door for her to move to Texas first, to experience his grace, to experience his provision, to experience him and have a relationship with him.
To hear him louder.
Exactly. She had to move from Auburn, you know, and when she left and went from Auburn to Texas, you know, the big hype, you got to be careful about gossip. You especially when it comes to somebody you love. Don't listen to all of the different hype, you know, when it comes to other people saying this and that and the other, because you'll get caught up in that. And when you get caught up in that, you'll start believing it. Faith comes by hearing, and faith comes by hearing anything, whether it's good or bad. So, you know, the big gossip was that she left to go to Texas to be with someone else. Okay. Yeah. And of course, that's something that I thought as well. You know, I don't do the gossip now. I'm not messy. So I'm not connected with a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to circles. Yeah. So I didn't get the gossip, but within myself, that's what I thought. I thought she moved.
Well, let's get that straight. I got an aunt out in Texas.
Right.
And that's who called me and said, come on out here and just ease your mind, because like I was telling her, like, I had my dream job back at home. And then this pandemic came in and just wipe that clean. But we'll get into that later.
Right.
Like, this off the subject.
Right. So she had to move.
Yeah.
And it was orchestrated by God. It had nothing to do with another woman. But had she not experienced that, she would not have been prepared to come to Atlanta. So by Texas being a larger city, she had a lot of experience in a small bridge of time. And God shifted her again. So her life was just, 2020 was just contingent upon shift after shift after shift. And we had no idea that we'd be sitting right here today doing this video with you guys and for you guys. You know, when we look back at the beginning of 2020 when the pandemic started, had no idea. No idea. We both was in totally different, doing something totally different, and trying to allow each other's lives to go in different directions. But when God has something for you, it is for you. And he will collaborate and draw whatever it's supposed to be where it's supposed to be. You don't have to force it. You don't have to, you know, make it do what it do. But, so let's get back to when I got fed up.
Okay.
So when I got fed up, I stopped asking questions. Why you moved to Texas? Why? Well, what is this? What does this mean? And you said this. And I said, okay. There was nothing else. It wasn't anything else to ask. Yeah. Not after 15 years. Mm-hmm. What else is it to ask? When I asked, you moving to Texas? She said yes. I said, okay. And that was it. Yeah. You know, so she knew. But the aftermath is where I think we need to go now.
Yeah, the aftermath.
Yeah, this is more of what I wanted to talk about. Okay. She wanted to solely speak about when a woman is fed up, when I actually got fed up, to help you guys with that part. This is the part I kind of wanted to help with. What people don't understand is pain always have an aftermath. You know, any type of pain, whether somebody cheats on you, whether somebody leaves, whether somebody rejects you, whether somebody hurts your feelings, whatever it is, whether somebody said something to you that they didn't mean at that time. That's why you have to be careful about stuff you say out of your mouth. Because one thing about it, all of us think different, we perceive different, we hurt different. So when it comes to your mate, you have to be sensitive. When I say sensitive, I don't mean shallow in your feelings. I mean sensitive meaning be very questionable and wise about what you say out of your mouth. If you don't, for just hypothetically, if you don't like her shoes, you don't go and just attack her shoes. You know,
because I'm looking at my shoes like, I really like these shoes. Right. Now she's talking about, and then the next day, oh, them some nice shoes, but you just said 2 days ago they were okay.
Right. I mean, that's a shallow example, but when this comes to anything, you know, if she wake up one morning and, you know, you might not like the way her hair position on her face, whatever it is, use wisdom with how you address your mate. Because if you tear them down with your words just a little bit, it only takes just a little bit, just like a loophole for the enemy to come in. What's going to happen is they'll start pulling away, and then every time you do say something polite, they'll question whether you mean it or not, because of what you previously said. So you have to be careful. Babe. Yes, this is how. You know, you might have a mate that's gaining weight or losing weight, you know, because some people like BBWs, and Shawty might be losing a little weight, you know, and you got a problem with it.
Got that pack.
You have to use wisdom and discretion on how to deal with another individual. You can't just say any and everything and think it's supposed to be what it is, because after you say it, it's going to stick with that person, and you can say something completely different another time that's polite and, oh, baby, you look so good. They're going to remember. So there's always an aftermath to all kinds of pain, especially cheating. Okay, so let's deal with this real quick, because I know we probably don't talk all day with this. But when I first met my wife, okay, when we first got into a relationship, she cheated. Let's put it out there. She cheated. Okay. Now, I'm a Leo, so I'm kind of, you know, a little territorial, and I like to feel like I'm the queen, you know, and everything to me is how you do it. You know what I'm saying? If I feel like if I'm on my throne, I can't be dethroned. If I feel like I'm not going to compete with another woman, I'm not going to compete with another idea, I'm not competing with nobody. Okay, because I'm the queen. You know, I run.
You the queen.
Right, I'm the queen. That's my personality.
Yeah.
So what she did was, let me tell you how she cheated. So what she did was, somebody was having a party. I'm not even going to mention the party promoter's name, because it will get a little messy if I do. But it was a little party going on in Columbus, okay? So she wanted to go to this party because she had been cheating or kicking it or talking to somebody outside of me. So she was smart enough to bring it to me. So she called and said, hey, babe, you know, blah, 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 I'm going to go to this party. And she was even slick enough to tell me she was going with somebody else. I'm a Leo now. So what I said was, I mean, do what you do. Go. You know what I'm saying? Go on to the party and go with whoever you want to go with, you know, and I rattled on and on and on. Go ahead. And that is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I put it, trying to use reverse psychology. You know, I tried to trick her out of going by acting like I didn't care. Okay, so I was like, go. And this... So as, you know, the weekend comes about, you know what I'm saying, I called my friend. I said, we going, listen, I want to see if she gonna try me. Now, mind you, I ain't but 5'4", you know what I'm saying? You know? I'm 6'3". But I'm a Leo, so, you know, I'm a beast inside. But I called my friend. I was like, let's go, because if I catch her, it's on. Now, mind you, this is years later now. So I mean, earlier. So
years later,
we went to the party. I will never forget it. We were sitting there, me and my best friend, we was chilling. And the door to come into the club was behind us. So my back was to the door.
Mind you, before I got in there, I searched the parking lot to make sure her car wasn't there or her friend car was there. So I don't know how they got there. You know what I'm saying? So First of all, I did my check. I checked to make sure, like, oh, I'm parked over here. Ain't no parks over here. Let me go over here. But the whole time, I'm searching for.
She better have a search. Okay, so we're in the party. We having a good time. We looking at everybody because it was like a little ball. It was formal. So they had on suits and gowns and everything. So, you know, as ghetto as I was at that time, I'm sitting around checking out everybody. Oh, that's cute. So my friend bumped me. And I'm like,
what she do, man?
She bumped me. And she said, I can't say the word. She said, she was like, you know, I know she ain't come here, but. And so I happened to look, and she walked through hand in hand, you know, with this other person that she asked me if she could go to this ball with. And I said, she tried me. So as the night progressed, you know, I walked up to her, of course, wanting to put my hands on her, but, you know, it was about like this. This is how tall I am. So I looked up at her and I walked up. Now, I was really, she had on a white suit. Wasn't it white, babe? Well, this was years ago. It was a white suit, but I had some Hennessy, and I wanted to damage her life at that moment. But me being a Leo, you know, me having this reputation, I didn't want to, you know what I'm saying, show out, you know, and feel embarrassed because she was with somebody completely different. I mean, they taking pictures, they doing everything. So she knew, I know she know I'm gonna see these pictures on this page. But anyway.
I was an escort.
She was an escort. She was a date. Okay. So as she was walking past me, I positioned myself where she had to come past me. But mind you now, she didn't see me because she in her own world. So I stopped her and I put my hand on her chest.
And I lost my life. I was like, have you ever jumped off the diving board and went to the end of the pool and you look up and it's a long way to the top? You're like, that was me.
She should have had a whole aneurysm right then.
Yeah. Because
I was, when I tell you angry,
and touch, I felt it.
I was angry.
Her facial and all that didn't show it, but that little touch.
I was angry. I really wanted to hurt her, really bad.
For real?
I did.
For real.
For real. I wanted to hurt her.
She could need that Jackie Chan.
But so I kept the facade that I had, you know, like, oh, it is, you do you know. And then I get back home and lo and behold, you know, I get on Facebook and pictures everywhere of her and her date. I was an escort. It was her date.
I was an escort.
Now to the point, she cheated on me.
I was an escort.
And she ended up with the person she cheated. Okay. And for a long time, I could not get over the fact that, first of all, that she cheated. Second of all, that she didn't fight. You know, she didn't fight. She didn't call me, babe, try to explain, and she did none of that. She allowed people to put all these pictures up on social media. I was completely embarrassed. You know, I felt like it was utterly embarrassing to me. So, you know, I got my ex calling me, you know, out of mockery, you know, this is what she wanted, you know, I told you, you know, it just was completely embarrassing. But the aftermath to the cheating was not just the pain. It was the rejection. I think overall it was the embarrassment. One thing I don't like is don't embarrass me. Don't. If me and my wife have a situation and it's in-house, I can deal with it. I'm strong. I'm a very strong woman. And I know people have issues. And I know things happen. And I can put up with a lot of stuff in-house. But when you, if it embarrasses me and you were messy enough to let it hit social media and everybody's house, and now everybody looking at me like I'm the fool, now we got a problem. Now I want to hurt you. Because now it is outside of me. It's just reputation now. And I know we shouldn't care about reputation or whatever it is, but it's something about being embarrassed. I can deal with issues we have at home. I can deal with, right, period. Because we can deal with that. We can get past that. And it's still going to be even aftermath after that. But then to come behind that and still have to deal with the audience that saw it all, you know, is something completely different. So you have to be mindful of that when you just being messy, when you're cheating. And I used to tell her this all the time. I said, if you're going to do it, don't be messy. You know, I even used to tell her, I can do this better than you twice. I can run circles around you cheating. But one thing you're not going to have is somebody approaching you. You're not going to be embarrassed. And if I'm going to cheat on you, they're going to respect you. Yeah. Now, I'm not telling you cheating is cool, but I'm telling you the conversations we used to have. Yeah, I used to drill this into her head. Don't embarrass me. Yeah. You know, tell me what's up, because I was very open at the time.
Have your ducks in a row.
Right. I said, make sure you do it right. You don't let's not do it in Columbus. I'm gonna need you to go out and get you some gas and travel. Do not embarrass me. Now this was then. Now,
that was then, not now.
Well, no gas. Yeah. Just don't do it now, period. Yeah. But at that time, you know, I gave her leadway to understand that I was wise enough to be able to deal with situations, and she didn't know how to handle that. Okay. But anyway, the aftermath to the pain, even to this day, that was years ago. Years ago, she cheated on me. We're married. We're totally not in the same city. You know, we ain't connected to the same people. We're in a different level of wisdom. We've grown a lot of things. I still have to fight those thoughts, that issue, that pain every day. Every day that she, or anytime she, you know, want to drive to Auburn and go hang out or whatever, I have to fight internally. You know, I don't tell her, you know, and I don't mention it to her. I don't walk around the house bringing it up. You remember when you cheat on me? Because one thing about healing, you got to want to forgive. And if you want to forgive, you have to forget. You cannot keep regurgitating the same thing in order to get past something. You have to let it go. And letting it go means to forget. And when I say forget, I don't mean literally. I mean to disconnect from it. So it cannot be everyday thought. But I have to fight everything that we've went through prior to every time she's by herself. So when I'm at home, I'm wrestling with the pain. I'm wrestling and trying to get past that she could potentially, I could feel this again. And sometimes being cheated on makes you or puts you in a place where you don't want to be vulnerable again. It'll put you in a place where you don't want another relationship. You don't want a marriage. Now, had I allowed the pain to win, we wouldn't be here today. But my point is to let you guys know there's always a consequence and an aftermath to any type of cheating or pain. It's just like a storm. When Katrina went by, you know, even though FEMA and everybody was sending money to those people still were hurting in other areas other than just finances. There's always debris. There's always calamity still in place, even though the storm may pass. So, and you'll leave that person, I'll say this and I'll give it to you, babe. You'll even leave that person to heal by themselves. When she cheated, she went on with somebody else. And I was left to heal alone. Okay? And that is not fair. Especially if you're going to stay in the same household. If you're going to be married or be committed to the person, you're going to forgive and y'all going to get past it. You have to help that person heal. Meaning you can't be arrogant. You know what I'm saying? She can't not be sensitive to the fact that we had a past. So when she's out, she called. You know, babe, what you doing? We finna go blah, blah, blah. You know, this woman. And it's not that I require that of her. I'm not controlling her. No. I don't require that. You got to call me every 5 minutes. We ain't doing that. That's not how we roll around here. We grown.
Me fixing the problem.
Right.
Me fixing the issue that I caused. The problem that I caused. That's me giving her insurance that, hey.
Right. I'm
in it.
Right. And that's what love does. She decided within herself that she wanted to make me comfortable where I could rest when she's gone. You know, because you don't want me upset. I promise you. You don't want, my spirit is very strong, so I can control an atmosphere, which means you don't want to come in this house and I'm mad. You know, but that's not the point, because we're not going to use all that manipulation, witchcraft. But my point is this: because she loved me and she understands what happened and that experience is still there, she helps me gain back the trust that she lost or that I lost for her, and vice versa. You know, I have to make sure, you know, because let me tell you something else. Even though she cheated on me, guilt sometimes will make you not trust the other person because you can't trust yourself, or because you think they're going to get some get back, or, you know, they're going to do what I did to them. You know what I'm saying? And it could also put her in a place where she doesn't trust me because she was wrong. You know, so I even have a mandate on myself to make sure that she can trust me. She knows code to my phone. She don't go through my phone. but I don't hide these things from her, and vice versa. I don't go through her phone, but I know the code to her phone if I want to go in it.
Yeah, it's just like this. It's like if you're hiding your code, that makes you want it. It makes you want to go through it.
Right.
So if you give your phone your code out, it's like, okay, you trust me with the code, so ain't nothing for me to look for.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's just like the reverse psychology thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know that stove hot.
Right.
You know what it's going to do to you when you touch it. It's going to burn you.
Right.
But if you say, go ahead, man, go touch that stove. It ain't hot. You know?
You don't even want to touch it.
I don't even want to touch it. I don't even want to touch it. No, I know it's hot. You
Right.
gonna tell me to go touch it? I don't even want to touch it.
Right.
I believe you're just...
That's a good metaphor. So, you know, like we were saying, you know, when it comes to trust, I want her to trust me as well. I don't want her walking in any guilt. I'm not trying to make her pay for anything. You know what I'm saying? What I want her to do is love me from this point. So when you're trying to get past stuff, you have to want to heal. You have to desire it. Not only desire it, you have to put yourself in a position to heal. You cannot continue to badger and beat and bring up and, you know, manipulate the
She'll
system.
be like, yeah, go out, go have fun. I'm in the club like, oh, time me to go. She said, I can stay out. Oh, shit. I'm in.
So it works.
Yeah.
That's my secret. It works. But anyway, you know, and it's not really trickery or psychology. I honestly, you know, want her to enjoy her life with me. And sometimes having space or being able to hang out or go to your mom's house miles away or whatever it is, if that makes her happy,
old friends and
then it makes me happy. Right. So we get along very well with that. It wasn't easy the first 30 days. Then we moved together because, you know, a part of me wanted to put her on leash, so to speak, you know, because I was afraid. Because we remember now, we just quickly shifted into this marriage very quick, even though we've had these years together, you know. So I'm still trying to rid out some of my fears. So I had to allow myself to be vulnerable, and never think that a person that's vulnerable is weak. A person that allows themselves to be vulnerable is a very strong person.
Yes.
You know, because I'm not afraid, because I know that if anything were to occur, that by faith we can get past it. We can heal. You know, God is able to keep my heart and to keep her as well. So you do have to be a very prayerful woman, you know, or a
praying
husband.
Woman.
Or
Let me tell you.
Yeah. Like, seriously. You know, because she got out real late one night. It was getting kind of late. And I rolled up and I said, Lord, she's yours. This is your woman. This is not mine. And let me tell you something. When you think like that, it keep you from being jealous. Because she doesn't belong to me. She belongs to God. Okay, God allotted me, you know, a position in her life. So she's like a gift. And when you think about people in those different type of aspects, if you think about your mate as a gift, you're treated different. Because gifts cost a lot. You know, so it depends on how much that gift or what you value, how valuable that gift is. If somebody buys you something from the Dollar Tree, you throw it around any kind of way. But if that gift holds value, you make sure you put it in its right position and you don't handle it or misuse it. So when I look at her, or when I think about my wife, I think about her as a gift from God. I think about her as God's child. So I'm careful. I'm very, you know, I'm picky and I'm choosy about how I talk to her. Now, because I'm off the record, I'm nobody to play with. Like, I'm seriously. Yeah,
You on the record, but you saying off the record.
I ain't nobody to play with.
Me neither.
I can really.
My Forrest Whitaker eye. I'm trying to straighten up my eye, y'all.
But I give thought to how I speak to her. I give thought to a lot of things to keep from misusing or abusing my gift. You know what I'm saying? So I handle her with care. And she knows I do it.
Because she knows with care as well.
She know I give her soul, baby.
Huh?
Yes, you do, babe. You do. I'm just saying. I'm talking. So. But no, I'm free. She does. She handles me with care. And it takes a lot out of her, too, because she's a Scorpio. You know, so, you know, temperament is off the chain. Scorpios are very, very hard people to deal with. They're very mean at times. But she handles me with a lot of care. She's not mean.
I'm not mean.
So she can be mean, though, but she's not mean to me. So, 37 minutes. We got to go. So let's deal with me. Just thinking about cheating, you know, when I did cheat. Not on her, but when I did cheat.
Oh, yeah. Clear it up.
But, because we do have years, you know, invested in each other. So that's why I wanted to make sure that was clear.
Or did you cheat?
I did not. I never cheated on you, babe.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
So, okay, so listen. I found out just through life and as God began to heal my brokenness that I had a lot of self-esteem issues. I had a lot of issues with not knowing who I was as a person. I had a lot of issues with not understanding love, not knowing how to receive love, not knowing how to benefit from God's love. And with that being said, I made a lot of decisions that were selfish. You know, based on my need, based on my ego needing to be stroked, based on me needing other people to fill voids. And a lot of times what I would do is I would get as many people as I could get, so to speak, okay, trying to be politically correct in what I'm saying, to fill these different voids, to build up the spaces that I needed to be built because I didn't know how to gain my own self-esteem. And one thing about that is when you allow people or things to build you, they can also let you down. So when I cheated, I did it solely because of selfishness and because I was trying to find me. You know, I was trying to find a way to love myself, and I used people. You know, I use people's affirmation. I was very attracted or aroused by compliments. You know, you look good, you fine, you sexy, you know, whatever that they had to offer. You know, I used it for my benefit to build me up as a person. And unfortunately, each individual, when I was cheating, each person brought something different to the table. So I collaborated all these different women or, you know, situations to enhance or stroke an ego that I thought I needed to be stroked by using people, if that makes sense. I hope I'm not rattling, but that was my reason and my purpose for cheating. And to later find out that it never built me, it never enhanced my self-esteem. The only thing that it did was tear me down even more, because at the end of it, there was an aftermath. And we're going
What they do? They smile in your face all the time. They wanna take
Smile in
your
your
praise.
face.